everyone, and welcome to another Elden Ring video. Today we're going to be covering several different topics, including the story progression, how you actually get through the main beginning part of the story so you can actually finish quest lines and progress to new areas and do other things. That's where I was stuck for a long time. And then we're going to talk about some damage stacking buffs, how to boost your numbers for your character. We're going to talk about the different animation styles for when you dual wield your weapons. So the same type of weapon or the same weapon, one in each hand. And we're talking about using the bow. And then we're going to talk about using the items / the item pouch. So here you see the sword that I have. You might see a lot of other people have this sword too. It's a pretty good, powerful sword. But first I want to show you these numbers and how to stack them. So to go over the items that we're going to be using today and equipment and such. So this sword here, it has War Cry as the Ash of War skill that I put on it. As you see, it says it increases your attack power. That's what we're going to be focusing on in this. This heirloom here raises my strength stat, which also increases the attack power. This wondrous flask has also this strength knot crystal, which also boosts my strength. And then down here in this area is where you can press A. Now you can set different items like consumables. So this says temporarily boost physical attack, so we're also going to use this. Then I'm going to just remove these other items that I'm not going to talk about for right now. So if you see on the right side of the screen, I can press the Y button. And the R Armament1, that's the one we're going to be looking at here. So right now it's 230, that's its value. And also the incantation boost, which is the flame grant me strength, also gives more attack power. So I'm going to go over each one of these and I'm going to look at the status screen and show you how the numbers increase. So first we're going to use this flask. I'm going to push this. Now we see it's at 249 in the top right corner. Switch down, eat this. It's at 299, that's a huge increase. Hit left bumper. That's the flame. Still at 299. Now I'm going to hit War Cry. And it's at 327, but then I'm going to have the sword in both hands. Now it's at 263. The reason I'm testing this with these opponents is that these opponents are pretty strong. And normally these opponents are on horseback, so this is where you can actually go and get their sword, which is the sword that I'm using here. So that's how the items stack for boosting your damage. So in the beginning of the game, it'll be difficult when you fight certain enemies, and you'll be wondering like, well, how do I get stronger other than just leveling up? And that's how, by combining a lot of different boosts, a lot of different items, and then using the weapon with two hands. So next we're going to talk about the inventory. So here in your inventory you can go and say just use this item. But if you were to use it from this screen, you'd have to go back to this screen every single time for anything. So that's where you have to go to the equipment screen, go down here to the quick item, on it, and you can put anything you want to here. So I'm going to return that there, and this here. And again, it can be anything. So that's also how you can use some of these items. Oh yeah, and like that. You can have more than one. So if you didn't know which one you wanted to use, or you wanted to use one for one situation, one for the other for your spirit summons, that's how you can have more than one. Then another thing, so on my custom controls, which I'll go over again just to show, these are my buttons, so these are going to be different than the defaults. This is just what I like to use so far, which I recommend everyone sets up their own. So if I, on my controller, press and hold X, which it may be Y for default, you can see that there's different things here. This is the pouch menu. So if I push start, I'll use the D-pad to go to the right side of the screen over here. And then you can assign different things to the pouches. So that's if I want to use it through this menu. But I can also push the Y button that says switch or remove. Now that's not very clear when it says switch, but if you push Y, it's like you're assigning something to this. So you can put most anything you want to the pouch. I just have this item there. So that's how you use the pouch, which is separately from your down on the D-pad, which are those quick slots. Okay, so that should cover that. And next we're going to talk about, oh yeah, putting the same type of weapon or weapon in each hand. So here's just my regular dagger. You see its basic attack. You can have the dagger, two-hand dagger. So when you have it with two hands holding either your left bumper, left trigger, that should guard whichever one you have on your control setting. But if you have the same type of weapon in each hand, then instead of guarding, you'll do a special combo. So I just keep pressing it and it goes through all the animations. So you can do that with swords, you can do that with most anything. And the next thing we're going to talk about is how to use the bow. So if I have some arrows, I don't have any arrows. Okay, I can go get some. I've used the bow a lot. I like using the bow. In the beginning, it is expensive to use because you don't have a whole lot of runes to spend on arrows, but you can also craft arrows. It's a little time consuming, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to go to the site of grace, go to sort chest. This is where you can store different things. You can also retrieve certain things as well. Again, I recommend everyone stores all of their golden runes. Save them up for when you really need them. We're going to go over in the inventory by using the bumper. Now we're going to press the Y button, switch to chest. So now I'm over here. These are all the different ones here. Right, we can just use these. Actually, I'll use 3 of those and 3 of those to show the differences. Alright, so here we have our bow, but we don't have the arrows equipped yet, so I gotta go over here. First arrow slot is this one, and second arrow slot is this one. Alright, now it's not easy to see, but on the very, very bottom left-hand corner, there's on those two tiny squares, there's a arrow with the number 3 and another arrow with the number 3. So if I just go to use my attack button, which is holding right, it'll put the bow as a 2-hand. That's how the bow is used. Alright, so I'm going to lock onto this enemy. Now you can see where the arrows are lit up. At the bottom left-hand corner, it's brighter. That's basically telling you that you're in active bow shooting mode. So on the left side of your controller, either your bumper or your triggers or whichever, one of these will be your manual aim. You can only aim so high up and so far down. So don't think of it as, I guess, like a shooter game, like a first-person shooter game. So on the right side of the controller, you have your right trigger, right bumper. That corresponds to the type of arrow that you're using. So if I want to use the first arrow, it's this button. If I want to use the second arrow, it's this button. So that's how the bow works. One highly useful item is this beast repellent torch. As long as you don't turn your back on the wolves or the rats, they shouldn't attack you. And this still works even if you put the torch away to heal. But that's a super useful item. Alright, so we talked about that. Let's see. The last thing to talk about is the story progression. Alright, so this was where I was stuck. I was just roaming around the world. Oh, because I'm in combat, I can't fast travel. Roaming around the world, just didn't quite know what to do. The first character that you meet, she tells you she wants you to take her to the tree, but that's kind of like the end game goal, like your total large goal. But like, how do you get there? So the main thing to do to progress the sideline story quest, because I went around a lot of the map just trying to figure out what do I do, where do I go. And I wondered why other people are able to progress their side quests and I wasn't, and the guy at the round table would just tell me the same thing, that he just is tired of talking. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So here in Stormvale Castle, I'm just going to go over here for a moment. This is where both the first boss that you need to defeat is, and the second boss. They're both in the same castle. They both look alike. They're very similar, so it's easy to get confused. And that's what my situation was. I thought I had defeated purposefully I didn't defeat the first one. And then I didn't know that there was another one that looked just like him in this area. So this is the first one. You will come out here, battle him, and you'll save over here. This one is Margit. Then once you get into this castle, there's a lot of treasure, a lot of hidden passages, a lot of things like that. But eventually, you make it to a rampart tower. That'll lead you to this lift side chamber. Then you'll make it to this secluded cell. And the final boss is behind the green door at the secluded cell. And that's where you'll need to go to defeat him and finish up the intro part, I guess you should say, and be able to do the rest of your quest. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you out. Bye.